mother put a voodoo hex on me. She printed out a picture of Dan, and she printed out a picture of me, and she went to the store and got a mason jar and a cow tongue. She put the cow tongue in the mason jar with the 2 pictures and a little bit of my menstrual blood. Put it in a mason jar, buried it in the backyard, and said that you will never find love. You will never be happy. So I think that it's true. So I'm sorry. I just think it's true because it's like every time I get close to someone, they leave me.
Yeah, every time she gets close to someone, they leave her. Thank you, KFC 89. Should have worn my KFC shirt today. This is what mainstream media believes. They believe Dee Dee put a hex on this girl. The public believes what mainstream media says. Now let's just take a look at Gypsy's email where she did a love spell and put it in a mason jar and buried it in her backyard, but twisted this story and turned it into this. Okay. Hold on. Okay, she started learning about Wicca in late December 2020. She's a liar. She's never put a curse on anyone, she says. Okay. I would never do that to someone. But in 2013, she did a love spell. Never looked into it before, but 2013, she did a love spell. We have seen the bottles of holy water in Dee Dee's home and the crucifixes everywhere on the walls, just everywhere in Dee Dee's home. She was a very, very religious person, devout Christian Catholic, right? I think she was Catholic. If I get that wrong, yes, please tell me. I know sometimes it's late. I always have to wait till late because if I don't, you're going to hear the background of my kids, grandkids playing. It's not a quiet home. And I do them when I have time and it's quiet. So this is what she says in 2013, okay? I created a spell to bind Nick and I together as lovers so he would never leave me. In 2013, was it Nick or Dan? I don't know. Could be either because she was talking to both, right? To cancel out my mother's curse on me, I asked blank, Nick or Dan, to send me a lock of his hair, and he did. It was probably Nick. I don't know. It probably was. I took a strand of his hair and maybe it's supposed to be a 1. I don't know. And one short strand of mine when my mother cut my hair routinely. You shaved your head. You cut your hair. Even when you don't need to, you're cutting it with fingernail clippers, so. Okay. I twisted the 2 together and enclosed it in a photo of me and a photo of him. Gosh, don't that just sound like exactly what she said? A photo of him, a photo of her. But Dee Dee added a cow's tongue and her menstrual. How? I don't even want to go into that. I do not believe it. This is wackadoo. If you believe her, you are wackadoo. Wackadoo. She was not into this. Whatever. Wrapped it in red yarn. She wrapped the other. Oh my God. And it closed, the willpower of this spell was broken when I wrote to Nick after he was sentenced. It is to Nick. And he wrote wanting to get back together. I rejected him. she was with Ken. And with closure, the spell ended and he was free to have new relationships. He was free. He was free. You freed him. You put this man in prison for the rest of his life. He's not free. In your delusional mind, you probably believe, I think she believes her own lies. I want to talk about mainstream media and how they push a narrative. And I want to say this because it is pushed completely towards only Gypsy's story, and that's it. Only hers. No other, nothing, right? Nothing. It's only what we only know what she's told us. Nobody else, just what she has told us. There's nothing else out there. And all the videos we put out, all of the facts and the proof that's been put out, mainstream media isn't picking it up. Why aren't they doing that? Why aren't they doing that? They don't care. Are they going to admit they're wrong? No. Should they? Yes. Ethically, yes. I want to really quick just share an example of why her story has this one-sided theory of hers, her narrative, and that's it, right? I've never shared with you guys the person that my perpetrator. And I know that people have looked up my story. They're not dumb, they're smart enough to do that, right? My name will never be listed. I'm a victim, but trust me, I already know. I went through this, and let me tell you, today's been a rough day for me. It really has. Thanksgiving and Christmas, this is when everything started. I went back because I don't ever look at it, I don't want to be reminded. But, every day you do get reminded of the people who don't believe you. You know what I mean? And that's fine. I'm not going to beg someone or try to change or persuade anybody's way of thinking when it comes to my story, right? Because I don't care anymore. I don't. I know that I'm a good person. I know that, you know what? I won't even say that because I feel that way. Maybe others don't. I can say I know I do my best as a human being to be that best human being. But when you're constantly getting little jabs taken at you, you don't miss those jabs. You just don't miss them. And when you hear, comments on your looks and comments about fake victim and this, and that. Well, let me put it to you this way. In my situation, the only person that talked to the media was my perpetrator. I never spoke to him. I didn't want to. I was offered like a book deal and a documentary or interview to speak on a future documentary or movie or just something, right? And I don't even know who they were. To be honest, I was so emotionally and mentally drained, I couldn't even tell you the name of what company they were from or who they were with or anything. I don't even know. Right? It could have been somebody like Fancy that's, their own person for all I know. I don't know. I just know I said no and walked away. Me and my mom was with me. I said no. No. I didn't care, right? But if when I looked at my story today, and the most shocking part about it is it wasn't picked up by it didn't get a lot of publicity, you know? Somebody who's been charged with kidnapping, human schmecks trafficking, rugs, just a ton of charges, right? I think there's a handful of articles that are on there. Under a dozen, I would say. From what I saw, I could be wrong, but I quit reading because every single article was a copy paste article. Except for one, maybe two, they had their own words, and only one article actually spoke, and I know they were speaking about me because it was my story and was truthful. My perpetrator filed a habeas corpus. I watched that trial. He wasn't there, but he wanted habeas corpus and felt that there were redundant charges on him. And even at that trial, the state didn't even get it right. They had victims mixed together with other victim stories. It's amazing. But when I say, like with my story, it is this man coerced or recruited women with, basically enticed them with rugs and promised them something like money and rugs if they worked for him. They grouped every woman together. Only one news station didn't do that. One news station said, except for one woman who wasn't an addict of said rug. And then at the trial, the habeas corpus hearing, the state attorney said only except for one victim who wasn't an addict or addicted prior, still didn't get the complete truth of it. Still didn't get the complete truth of, she still had me mixed together. She had that part right, but said that when I left, he comes and coerces me back, which wasn't true. I left 3 times. Yes, the first 2 times didn't go good. The first time that I left and ran from him, 3 hours later, this man showed up at her apartment with an AK-47, shooting it in the air, promising he was going to take out everybody inside if she didn't open that door, and she did. She had a kid in that house. What was she going to do? What was she going to do? She also went to me and worked with him, but that's what kills me is they make it sound like, and that he found all his victims on a website. No, he didn't. No, I met him through a friend to go rent a house. That's crazy. And I saw what he did. That might have happened maybe 2 or 3 times. Majority of every woman he found was either someone he met even in stores, in parking lots, or at clubs. 99% of the time. Or from other men who were doing the same thing he was doing. That's how he found his women. Now, I'm going to say this. So, when I was doing my makeup pages, I gave his name. I told everything. I don't do that now because I just don't care. I don't care. If you guys don't believe me and what I tell you, that's fine. Like I said, I might talk about this in members only, but I don't feel everybody deserves my story. That's just how I feel. Don't deserve every detail. They don't. If somebody is instantly going to accuse me of being a fake victim, that's fine. Because a lot of people who say, oh, well, if you read those stories, we're all lumped together as one person, as a woman who was already, an addict, and they were just coerced to come and work with him in promise of rugs of money. That's not true. That wasn't my situation. That wasn't my story. And that's not what happened. And why the papers just put that out, I don't know. I never read them. I don't care. But when I did read those for the first time, I was like, well, you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because the way I looked at it was, yeah, there were women who were already addicts. They were. Does that make them any less of a victim? No, it doesn't. It doesn't make those girls any less of a victim. Because when he coerced them to come back to his place, it was a lie. All of them. You don't know their stories. I don't know their stories initially, and I still don't know many of their stories because there were so many women and even underage girls. These women were going through something to where they were in the place they were in to begin with, right? I do know for a fact, and he was convicted, and his wife. I have spoke to his wife since. Because in reality, even she was a victim. I don't know how she's still alive. I'll just say that. She did what he said because she was scared. I know that. Okay? She's offered to do whatever for me to help me get through this and can never apologize to me enough. And I used to be like, you know what, I'm just going to bring her on because when I would speak to my followers when I was doing makeup, and I told them what happened and gave his name and they read it and they were like, well, you were just already this. You weren't a victim. And I know that's what people think. But that wasn't my story. That's not why I met him. I was supposed to rent a house. Did I have red flags? Absolutely I did. Was I desperate for a place to stay? Absolutely I was. But when I say it happened so fast, and it was just the perfect, like every step of my life was just the perfect recipe for disaster. Before meeting him, I got into a huge argument with my parents. Wasn't talking to my family. Perfect. Just separated from my ex. He's ganged up against me with the woman who set me up with the guy. Feeding him lies. Him telling my family. Me not knowing none of it. Couldn't figure out what was going on. And me just being more angry and feeling more alone and not having nobody to turn to and needing to figure it out and get myself financially figured out quick. That's how I looked at it. Again, it did feel too good to be true. So if they read this and they see, oh, well, these women were already like listing themselves on this website, and which that isn't even the truth either. Most of these women didn't even know what that website was, because I sure never heard of it. He forced that. He forced that. There was no choice. You did it. That is what is so crazy to me. This man kidnapped me. This man locked us in a house and basement. What is not clicking? He was working for the cops, and I hate to hear, oh, well, the cops are so good, so and so is a cop. I know a cop. All cops are good. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're not. Because there was so much corruption in this police department. It doesn't, in the news articles, it doesn't say one word about it. It doesn't mention he worked for the police or the county of there. It doesn't talk about the cops who got fired. Honestly, there's not one word about it. He worked for the city, the cops, and got paid like $22,000 in less than 2 years. And you had corrupt cops working with them. He was going to the airport and getting kilos of rugs with the cops' help so that he didn't get caught. Don't tell me it's not real. The DA and the judges there in that town were working with him. But none of that's in there either. None of that's in there either. So you could take your jabs. It's fine. I know that I have been nothing but kind and supportive and honest with my truth. It is my truth. You don't have to believe me, and I don't care. Does it hurt? Yes. Yes. That's why this bothers me so much. I hate it. I want my channel to be light and we just chit chat, talk. It's not perfect, but while we're doing that, bring justice to Dee Dee. You don't even get half the truth with Dee Dee, or even half the truth with Gypsy. Everything she says is a lie. Everything. But I'm not dumb. I know why I get cold shouldered, get that mean girl, whatever. I'm not dumb. I know that. I get it. I get it. I think one of the things that I love so much about my YouTube channel was like 90 some percent of my subscribers are female. And I loved it. I was so happy because on TikTok it's the complete opposite. And I don't like hearing that, I don't like. Not that I mind having men followers and subscribers, I don't. It's just that it gets old hearing, oh, you're so beautiful. You don't need makeup. Don't wear makeup. Don't do this. Don't do that. You don't need that. You don't need that. Why do you even have to comment about it? I'm just doing silly TikToks at that point. I stopped doing makeup, or, people tell me I need to do this and I need to do that, or stop doing this and stop doing that. And not about the case, not about me talking about the case, about me personally. I'm not gonna stop like doing something that I love because you think I should do something else. That's crazy. I love speaking about this and trying to get her some sort of justice. I do. I did get justice. By the way, he lost the habeas corpus. My perpetrator did. And that was just in December of 2024 when that happened. I didn't know that. Anyways, he lost, right? Even if he would have gotten some kind of, when I was listening, they were just trying to get some of the charges because they felt, anyways. He got sentenced to 340 years to no more than 400. Wait, I'm sorry. He got sentenced to 240 years, no more than 312. That was his sentence. So what you read on me that you think, you didn't read anything. You didn't get no details. You didn't get the real story. You got a chopped up basic version of mainly a bunch of girls who just thought they were going to go get favors for rugs, is what it makes it sound like. And you know what? I don't like that. I don't like that. I had never really read them until I started getting the reaction that I did. And I was like, why are you saying it's my fault? And I'll say this again. These girls, even if they were already, they don't deserve what he did. Nobody deserves. Nobody deserves to be beaten and starved. Nobody deserves to be beaten or starved and guns put to your head and walked over you and make you bark like a dog because you don't want to do what they say. And after, like I said, he was working for the police department, and not even a month or two later gets fake raided because I didn't know he was working for them and he was setting somebody up. I thought he was really the one going to be in trouble. No, I mean, he did whatever. I pulled the cop aside and said, I'm being forced to do this and this and this, and the cop didn't listen to me. All he said was tell it to the judge. What do you do after that? When I did get away from him finally, I didn't go to the cops. I didn't trust him. I went to my mom. A month after I left, a girl did go to the cops. They have those stories messed up. It's so irritating. They have even her my stories mixed together. So that's so frustrating. Seeing how little, it's so frustrating. But I didn't go to the cops. I didn't trust them. So don't tell me that corruption isn't real, because it is. It is so real. Political parts and cases take a huge, huge play in this. And it did in Gypsy's case. It really did. Okay. I wanted to point out that to you about the mainstream media only putting one narrative together. And I know the jabs you're taking to me, pointing at me, and that's fine. I've dealt with that my whole life. That whole, oh, she's so pretty, you're so pretty. I don't like that, because I know the jealousy part from other women who are instantly, oh, I don't like her. I've dealt with it my whole life. No matter how kind I am to people, women especially, they're not gonna like me. And I'm not trying to sound vain or anything like that, because that's not me. It is just, I have never really had women who, it just doesn't matter. But that's why I have loved YouTube so much. because of having the opposite experience, really, with my subscribers only. I mean, just with them. And I wanted to put that out there. You can take your jabs. You don't have to believe me. I don't care if you believe me. Does it hurt? Yes, it does. You not believing me isn't critical. I mean, constructive criticism. That's not constructive criticism. That's just being cruel. No, honestly, it's not. It really isn't. That's your opinion. I made mistakes. Yes, I trusted people I shouldn't have. My gut told me to walk away. I didn't. And I set myself up for a storm, the perfect storm. And I'm paying for it still today. So, it is what it is, you know? But I'm getting over it. It might not look like it in this video, but I am. But I'm going to say it one more time. What we see on mainstream media from Gypsy's version pretty much is what I see from my story, that it is the craziest thing in the world. There's nothing in it. There's like 4 or 5 facts that are true in it, and then everything else is just, that's it. It's the craziest thing. And it shocks me that somebody who's charged with those charges, that isn't a nationwide story either. And I'm glad it's not, to be honest. I'm glad for my privacy, I'm glad. But it wasn't. Why? Because you deserve it. Those girls, you know, they were already addicts, so no, that's not okay. No. This is Gypsy to a T. Everybody believes that Dee Dee put this spell out there. This is what is in mainstream media. It's in The Act on Hulu. It's mentioned in all of her documentaries. I don't even know if it's all of them, but a few. Every single person who speaks to her and interviews her, it's her version. It's hilarious. And then you have down here, curses and spells are like wishes or a prayer for something to happen. It is called manifestation. And the karma you put in is how powerful it can be. How's that karma, Gypsy? Just like Gypsy's latest, it's been all over the social media lately that it wasn't in police evidence, though. Why? Because, well, Ron and Christy went through Gypsy and Dee Dee's house and took whatever they wanted. You know, didn't have anything to do or go see him in 10 years, but boy, they were there in a heartbeat. Literally, as they were doing interviews, the cops were driving by the house as they were talking to neighbors. Yeah. Crazy, huh? I want to know when Christy worked in the hospital. That's what I want to know. And how long. I just want to know that. How long did Christy work in the hospital? I Googled it. I couldn't find anything. I Googled where Dee Dee and Christy worked. And the only thing I remember about Dee Dee, correct me if I'm wrong. Again, I'm not perfect. I'm just trying to get the truth shared, to get Dee Dee's truth out and Gypsy's lies pushed down. Gypsy needs held accountable for all of her lies. When did Christy stop working in hospitals? Because Christy is the one with the rug addiction, right? That's what we've always heard. That's what Gypsy's, spoken on. I'm just curious. But here's my point with this. I asked that because, yeah, it was found in Gypsy stuff. Such a coincidence, right? Who was the thief, though? Gypsy says that her mom told her to steal. But when they got banned from Michael's, they were caught on camera, and Dee Dee looked shocked that Gypsy. They told. I remember when they came up to Dee Dee and Gypsy, Dee Dee got very angry and said was offended that they accused him of stealing and told them to check the wheelchair. And sure enough, Gypsy had stolen. Again, Christy said she found a prescription pad. Okay, Gypsy puts this out there. That forever victim is there. The girl who admits to stealing her mother's pain meds, stealing her mother's money, admits that supposedly Gypsy was addicted to these medications, right? Even in her text to Dick, she took medication, told him she stole medication. Well, anyways, that she was going to have him medication too. Gypsy wasn't prescribed any pain medication. That was Dee Dee's pain medication. There was no pain medication prescribed to Gypsy. So you have someone who is admitted to stealing the mother's pain meds, giving them to her 35-year-old, she says boyfriend, but Dad says he was never her boyfriend. She was never his girlfriend, which is still just hilarious to me. Giving them to the 35-year-old addict who was on parole from prison at the time. She said in Cal Lowry's interview on the podcast, her mother wasn't addicted to medication, her pain pills. And she said it twice. I've heard her say that in interviews, that Dee Dee wasn't addicted to her pain meds, which shocks me. It shocks me that she would say it, because she takes every chance she can to take a dig at Dee Dee. She really does. I think it's quite interesting that you stole everything. Remember the email that I read to you guys? It's been a while. You know, it wasn't email, it was a text that it was in the FOIAs, sorry. It was an email, but it was in the FOIAs to Nicholas, where, it was a few videos back. She wanted to go on basically red rum and mayhem spree. Stealing. She was a good thief and she could steal bigger things. Wanted to rug men, go in and rug them and rob them, and even them. Remember? Something in mayhem is what she had named it, and wanted to steal cars. This girl who said she was a great thief, very good at it, says that this is her mom's. I just find it hard to believe. Why would Dee Dee take it? Why? Oh, my mother did this because she was writing fake prescriptions and getting me extra prescriptions. What? She would have been caught. That's so dumb. Making me take medicines that I didn't need. That is ridiculous. Coming from a known addict, thief, and Dee Dee wrote a bad check, and they villainized this woman over a bad check and made her out to be this monster from this little gremlin who still cannot let her mother rest in peace. Cannot do it. Look at this right here. This sent chills down my spine, you guys. First, what does this prove? What does it prove? Gypsy, explain this to us. What does this prove? Does it prove Dee Dee took it? There is zero proof. Your mother took that. You have a prescription pad that Christy said she's known that's been there for years, which is illegal in the state of Louisiana. Having it, owning it, not even using it. Having it in your possession is a federal offense. And you're posting it on the internet, bragging about it, thinking, oops, here's the prescription pad. Makes me look innocent. No, it doesn't. I don't. Anybody that believes this girl, I have zero hope that there is a chance that this is ever going to happen. Like, that they'll get their mind right and be like, oh, and it's going to click with them. Oh my God. Maybe, no, they're going to believe the freaking mainstream media and the fake lies and documentaries that are out there and go with that. That's what they're going to do. That's why they look at Dee Dee the way they do. That's why people looked at me the way they did. That's how I feel anyways. And when you give, like when I gave proof to people and sat there, like actually sat down and spoke with them and showed them my proof, especially from the federal agent who helped speak. I'll put it to you this way. Some people just don't care. The facts don't matter. It does not matter. The facts don't matter. They don't care about facts. That's the truth. They care about what they believe, their opinion of the truth, and that version is better than the truth, and they're going to keep with that, especially if they don't like you. If somebody doesn't like you, it's over. They're not going to believe you. But yeah, let me show you. This is what gave me just straight chills. Credit to Morgan Elena. I was making this video Friday. Actually, when did I make this video? Let me see. Let me get the details. Yes. That's so crazy. Actually, it was Saturday morning. Saturday morning at 8:55 a.m. Wait, is this mine or hers? No, this is mine. I'm an idiot. See, wait, look. Hey, let me get over there. Can you see it? Probably not. Anyways, I just wanted to show you guys that because I actually had this, and that day, it's been it's been the craziest week and just really busy. But I was gonna make this Saturday and I just didn't have the time. I didn't have the time to do it. So, but credit to Morgan Alina. And then I have a couple other things that I want to show you guys. Yeah, this was Saturday morning. I had all the stuff put together to do it. I was trying to get a video out that would, the 22nd. Isn't that Saturday? The 22nd? I don't know. It's November 22nd. I think that was Saturday. It was Friday or Saturday morning. I wanted to get a daytime video out, but I can't get it done. It just ain't gonna happen. I can't do it. But this blew my mind. Listen to this. It's crazy.
And hate her.
You wanted her dead.
Yes, but it was not because I hated her. It was because I wanted to escape her. Wait, what?
We got 2 minutes left.
Is it time?
No.
Yeah, I do miss my mom sometimes.
How creepy is that? Even I have said this over and over and over. The men that are attracted to her
pushes a lot.
have
She said the
some
whole,
kind of, they're not mentally stable. I think we could all agree, right, that there is something not clicking there, that there is this sick obsession or attraction to the act that she committed that turns them on. Watch it again. It's so gross, you guys. It just is. Even Ken.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do miss my mom sometimes.
The way they're both just smacking, and his grin and his smile too. I don't care. You'll never convince me that. Everybody's like, oh, Ken needs to run. Why? He is no better than Gypsy. None. Christy comes on and says, oh, that whole, I didn't tell the cops. Gypsy is very smart. Don't let her fool you. Yet, it's in a police statement. They can't just say she said this. It is, as much as I tell you guys, yes, there is corruption. There is corruption. But this is something that was said where they actually transcribed it down. This isn't like me pulling a cop aside who is in on this scam with him and me going, hey, they're forcing me to, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to hear it. They already knew it was going to happen in my situation before they even got there, before I even knew this was happening. It would have been nice to know. And the reason I say that too is another thing. I'll explain this at the end. Y'all, I know y'all don't want to hear this about my stories because it's not about me, and I don't even want to. It's just I always feel the need to defend myself, and even if women don't feel like, or other people don't feel like, other women who was already maybe in that lifestyle or struggling with drugs feel that they're not a victim and they deserved it because they were an addict. I think that is absolutely heartbreaking because they still are a victim. They are. But again, is this not the creepiest thing ever? And then Christy saying, I didn't say that. You did. It was an interview. You did say that. Why would a cop make that up and say it though? That was a month later. And then in those emails I just read you, Gypsy doesn't want Rod and Christy having anything to do. She took Rod and Christy off of the financial part of it. She put Ryan on it until she got out of prison. From March of 2023 till December 28th of 2023, she gave guardianship, like her full, to Ryan. She wasn't comfortable letting Rod and Christy handle her finances any longer. Oh, also, I'm going to show you a picture at the end of this other. It looks to me like another jar that was a spell that was found in Gypsy's things. So, tell me again that it was Dee Dee Gypsy. Anywho, I want to read you another email really fast. Here we go. It says, I'm watching the CNN. Thank you, Little Frodo. Sorry, I meant to say that earlier. Credit to Little Frodo. I'm watching this CNN documentary about Britney Spears and the conservatorship she is under, and I feel so much sympathy for her because I know what it is like to be controlled, and when Britney talks about it, I feel her emotions because I felt that helpless feeling of being controlled and having a parent have paperwork saying that the parent has every right to control your life, and you can't do a dang thing about it because everyone deems and sees you as mentally unstable or incompetent. It makes me sad for her. She's comparing herself to Britney Spears now. She did Britney Spears and Jesus Christ. So we're getting there, guys. You know, we're getting there. Yeah. Jesus Christ and Britney Spears. She thinks she's a celebrity. I swear to God. She really does. She thinks she does. I also want to show this to you really fast. Here she lies again. It says that she didn't walk or run around the house if Dee Dee was home, but we've heard her say otherwise. It's so insane. As for shoplifting, we would go to Sam's Club, Walmart. She would put me in the basket. This is where she contradicts herself. Listen to this now. The basket cart. And she told me to slip things under my dress and sit on them. I did, and we would steal so much stuff like DVDs, clothes, food, hygiene products. She sometimes would have me steal DVDs, and she would go resell them at a local video buy, sell, trade shop. Let me tell you what I think. You had your own bus pass, Gypsy. I think you did that. You. And you pretended to be this mentally unstable girl or mentally challenged girl. So you had sympathy and people didn't say anything to you. That's what I think. How did you steal the knife from Walmart? Oh, my mom was down another aisle. She wasn't watching. You weren't ever alone. What are you talking about? So dumb. By the way, she never shoplifted alone. She needed me to be the one to use my wheelchair as a means to hide things. But you just said she put you in a basket cart and made you put things under your dress. So you needed the wheelchair or what, Gypsy? You just contradicted yourself there. If anybody believes this woman, I don't know what to say to you. I really don't. And listen to this. When my mother and I were living in the Slidell housing complex in 2004, 2005, my mom had a neighbor she would sell her prescription medicine to for extra money. She started selling weight loss pills, and I believe that's what it was, just her weight loss pills. I do believe that. But then she started selling her pain pills and Xanax. The neighbor told other people in the complex, so she had more than one buyer. Okay, that would put Gypsy around 2004, 2005, if that's when they lived there. I don't know. Gypsy around 14, I think. Right? Am I right? Somewhere around there. I guess. In 2015, my mother stole money from our neighbor. Just get this now, because you remember the neighbor? Dee Dee told the neighbors and even told the cops she thought that the neighbor's son was stealing her pain meds and her money when it was Gypsy. And I'm going to give you, just listen to this. My mother stole money from our neighbor Debbie Akers after Debbie trusted my mom to put the money Debbie made after doing an experimental trial for one of those companies that pay you to be a volunteer for a new drug or product. Debbie knew Mom had a safe, and so Debbie asked Mom to put the $2,000 in the safe for her. Mom agreed, but stole a few hundred from the money. I don't know if I even believe that. I really don't. Why won't you just go buy a safe? You're going to hand somebody $2,000 to keep for you? I don't know. I don't know, you guys. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And when Debbie realized the money was missing, Mom played it off like, it must have been Debbie's disturbed older son. I think Gypsy stole the money. If that really happened, Gypsy stole it. Not the older son, and it wasn't Dee Dee. How many police reports did Gypsy's mother file months up to her MURDER? Like 5. For money missing and her pain pills. She thought it was this boy when it was in fact you, Gypsy Rose. It was you. Is that this girl takes pieces of other people's stories and uses them for her benefit. Just like I said, she uses other people's traumas and uses them to her benefit. And I am over it. And mainstream media has let this little gremlin lie her way through life. And you are lying your way through life, Gypsy. You still are. And right here, Melissa Moore is giving Gypsy every access to government assistance. You don't think that? Whatever. How to apply to community college Pell Grant. Will pay 100%. Apply for HUD. They will pay for your apartment. I've never had that. I wish. Apply for part-time job. $17 an hour at Walmart as a stalker or associate. There's lots of other jobs too, but at different places. Apply for state food stamps and health care. Gypsy knows this, Melissa. You don't got to tell her that healthcare pays 100% in dental and medical. She already knows. Open a Capital One bank account. Use the 360 savings. Open a secure credit card. This will build your credit fast. Everyone is accepted. Use no more than 30% of the card limit. Blah, blah, blah. We all know that. Apply for local driving school. They can let you use driving simulators to practice before you have a car to use. Then after applying these 2 things, look for apartments or housing. You have enough for a deposit and first month's rent, which is needed. Right now, you'll need to pull your credit. See what's on there. If there's fraud from your mom, I'll reach you how to fix. I guess she meant teach you how to fix. Your credit is what's pulled when getting it. Okay. You know what's funny about that? Gypsy just said her mother opened credit cards in her name. You are an adult, Gypsy. You could apply for credit cards. Is that why there would be mail missing from your mother's mailbox? You were getting your bills out of there, or you would get your credit cards, your phones. That's just I don't know. That's just alleged. Just what I think. That's not nothing fact, but I think it is really odd that, she wanted to see what kind of fraud was on there, and then all of a sudden, well, my credit is ruined from Dee Dee. Oh my God. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but this girl can't go a day. She can't say it's day and night without it being a lie, and that's the truth. So here she's talking to, I guess, Melissa again about her and Ryan's marriage. Release day. The highlights for this year. Release day. Cosmetic work. Wedding redo. Honeymoon vacation. First baby. Feelers. Getting first tattoo. Job interviews. Book tour. Sitting down with parents and asking one-on-one questions about my past. Facing fears. Going back to the 2103 W Volunteer Way. Digging up Hex Jar. I bet you do want to dig that up, Gypsy. I bet you do. I bet you do. Because it's a love spell that you did for you and Nick. This is, let me remind you guys again. Gypsy's book was denied from every publisher but Ben Bella Books. They were the only one who were interested in even writing Gypsy's book. Everyone else said no. Just saying. But Gypsy is angry. I'm not going to read it all. I'll leave it up here for you to read. God. It's stupid stuff, but she says, I read the book proposal and, I'll read you the first little bit, but I'm not going to read it all. To me, and what I found is, without trying to be insulting, that the overall framework of words was bare boned. It reminded me of listening to Forrest Gump and make me cringe. It was your very basic wording. I often use more intellectual words. For example, instead of saying people said my mom poisoned my step grandma, I would have said it was speculated that my mother had poisoned my step grandmother with Roundup. Also uses mom. Blank also uses mom, and I actually rarely call my mother mom. I refer to her as mother because I now call Christy mom. Also, there were consistent repetitive words and words that should have used commas where the repetitive ands were placed. You guys, she is all over the grammar, punctuation, and English because she's oh my gosh. Oh God, I don't care how I look. But the story, the story read very factual, however, lacked emotion, texture. It it lacked texture, y'all. You couldn't feel it. Sorry. And immersion, and to a degree intelligence. She didn't go to school though, y'all, so she knows all this, right? She did go to school. One thing everyone comments on, even when living with my mother, is how articulate I am with words, and that did not translate with the way this reads. Oh, because somebody wanted to say Dee Dee was working at the hospital and stole it. Well, get this. My mother did not work at the hospital after I was born. She took a job at a bar when I was a toddler and later took odd jobs such as photo restoration on her computer. It reads more than once that I had no participation in Mommy, Dad, and Dearest, but I did participate in the HBO documentary Mommy, Dad, and Dearest. However, I did not have financial compensation, and it was not a docu-series. It was a single documentary. You did get paid for that. It was set in a trust from Christy and Rod, though. So don't. In the beginning, it read, my childhood was great, but then I got sick. I'm not going over this one. This one's just going to tip me off, too. Number 4, and I did not mutually break. I am not going over that one either. Y'all can read this too about Ken. Girl, you're married now. I can't believe she is still obsessed with this. I cannot, you guys. Like, this is the most main important part in her book while she's married. And this is what's the funniest. Blank jotted, but she's complaining about spelling, grammar, and punctuation and put jotted. I jotted down, but she spelled it Jodded. Other notes of errors in grammar and proper English and pretty much the same notes. I cannot. For a proposal, it is okay, but I do not want Blank to write the manuscript. I just can't see a whole book of this shit. It is all facts and no heart. Nothing tugged at me to make me feel anything but bored and depressed. I emailed Blank with some thoughts. It might offend her, but it's my story and I'm not settling. This is an entitled, spoiled little brat. The ghostwriter is who she's mad at, by the way. I cannot. I cannot. I have no words. I have no words. I really don't. And here we go. She's talking about Ryan, and she says he is the only person that she knows who looks different based on angles in every picture. Because he is bigger, shots need to come from above, not lower. I can't stand her. She is so horrible, I swear. I'll save the best for last. I would need to talk with you when you have time. It's somewhat important. I would like to talk about handling the book and podcast earnings without my parents being involved. I do not feel comfortable involving them anymore. Whatever the studio has left to send for my documentary is still fine, but I no longer wish to entrust my finances with them for future projects. I'll explain on the phone. I am beginning power of attorney to Ryan to handle financial business and be able to sign in my place beginning March 15th and ending December 28th. Okay. We know exactly why Christy wanted Ryan out of the picture. Ryan ain't as dumb as Ken is. Ryan, he wasn't as dumb, but as far as emotionally, yeah, he is. But with this, Christy knew she didn't have financial control. Pretty much, right? Yeah, pretty much. And let me leave you with this. Isn't that crazy? Another jar. Crazy. Yeah. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't. I truly hope that Dee Dee's voice is heard because mainstream media and Gypsy, her family, and Scamfield have absolutely destroyed this woman's name. Just devoured her. And Nick's. I it is crazy the difference that you see in the facts of this case and what's put out with the original documentaries, the interviews, her reality special even, and what we see till today. It's night and day. And if you think mainstream media or the news is telling you the truth, you're wrong. And that's why I do love hearing it from actual people on social media. They don't lie. There's not this agenda. They just want the truth out there. Of course, there is people that do that on the internet. I'm not saying that, but people want justice. People want the truth to be, because we're tired of being lied to. I'm tired of how they want a story to look and write it how they feel, what looks best for the entire city. Like in my case, they didn't bring anything about the cops' involvement into that. The corruption, that was never brought up. Honestly, I don't even remember anything being said in any of the articles about corruption. That's crazy. None of that, and they lumped every single victim as one person. And that's not okay, because every single victim had one story and a situation. Were they in vulnerable situations? Yeah, definitely, for them to have been the path that took them to there. But anyways, enough with that. This is the last time I'm going to speak about that. I wanted that put out there because, you know, I hate myself. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to hate myself for putting this out, but I just wanted that put out there that I'm not an idiot. I know what you're doing and I know the jabs you take and the little comments you're making. I get it. I get it. I got it. I get it. It's fine. I don't know what the personal vendetta is or why. I don't care. I really don't. I the sad thing is that I thought they were amazing. Most of the people that, you know, do feel this way, I think they're awesome. Most of them, you know, that are this way, I think they're amazing people. Very supportive of them too. I really am. It is what it is, right? And I know I'm going to have secondhand embarrassment and I'm going to be such an idiot and I'm going to get made fun of. Oh, here she goes again. Again, I am an emotional person. I cannot help it. You guys, if you knew how many times I've cried this week, you would understand. This month until February, I'm telling you, this is how my trauma is. This is where it starts triggering for me and I do better every year, but I guess the little jabs that are being made to me, it does just trigger me maybe a little bit more, but I promise this won't happen again. I promise you, because I'm not going to speak on it again. As far as that, I'm not going to, I promise. But I just wanted it to be put out that I know. I get it. I get it. It doesn't matter. That's fine. Your opinion is you don't believe me, and that is completely fine. I get that. I feel better now just saying that's fine. I will have that respect to not even attempt to, you know, I just will not have any communication or try to show support in any way anymore. That's all. That's just how I will be, I think. Yeah. I think that would be best, but I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. Yeah. I'm gonna hate myself tomorrow. I already know it. All right, you guys. Oh, I did want to show you. Oh, I put it. No, where did I put it? Hold on. My daughter. Here it is. I had a necklace that my daughter made for me, and me and my mom. She made necklaces, and it was hearts, and it had many. It had. She got these little seashells, you know, from the beach, and no, my son came in, but initially she made me a heart, and um, I had cut my father's. I couldn't do it actually. I had my daughter do it for me when my dad passed. I was with him when he passed. And I cut a piece of his hair for my mom. I don't know why. I just thought my mom, bless her heart, she was just so out of it. And I took it because I wanted her to make her something like, you know, a keychain or just a little memento with his hair in it, right? My necklace got broken accidentally from my grandson. I was holding my grandson taking Matt to work one morning, and I remember hearing, I felt it too. Something hit my knee and then the ground because I was carrying him, and I thought maybe a stick fell from the tree because I looked down and I even looked around and I didn't see nothing. I thought, huh, because there were trees that I guess something fell from the tree. You know, it didn't click with me that it was a necklace. I even checked my Ring cameras. I walked out that morning with that necklace on, came home, and it wasn't there. So it did. That is exactly what happened. I realized like 2 hours after, two, I went to go, you know, like I'm sure, you hear my son, he's playing his game. You know, you fix a necklace and I went to go fix it, and the chain was still hanging there though, just no necklace. My heart, half of my heart, my mom and her heart and my heart connected, and you know, it had my father's hair. Well, my daughter had made a puzzle piece, because my dad is the missing puzzle to our family right now, right? And she gave that to me today. She kept it for her, and she's seeing how hard I've had. Like, I don't know. This has like been. She makes it. She did a puzzle piece and put his hair in it with little. My dad loved like looking for arrowheads, fossils, stuff like that too. So she did a lot of like rocks, little rocks in it and stuff, but it was very little few strands of hair she did for herself. And she gave me hers today because I couldn't find it. I went and looked. I think somebody just picked it up. Probably didn't realize that's what it was and just took it. It was really cute. It looked like a cute keychain. You wouldn't look at it and be like, oh, there's hair in it. It just looked like a beach keychain. And I think that probably a kid picked it up on the way to school or something. But I never got it back. So, you know, this was a good thing too. Most people probably will think that's weird, but it's, just, I feel like my dad's with me sometimes. That's how I feel. I don't know. Like I said, I'm having probably a nervous breakdown this month. I don't know because I'm just not having a great time. But I hope you guys had a great weekend, and I will see you in the next video. If you guys like this content, I'm not going to ask that this video. You probably don't. I'm probably going to skip over. This is why I don't like talking about it either, because I know people are just going to. Anyhow, please, if you want to like it, leave me comments below, not even about me, but about what I just showed you with this even. I think that's a pretty big coincidence, right? Let me know what you think in the comments below, you guys. I'm getting off here. I love you. I hope you had a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Good night.